It's another episode of Lonestar College Football. We are live today. Got Logan in the building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got a lot of
And
stuff going on here recently.
yeah, we've got Texas Longhorn impact players we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Big 12 potentially expanding a little bit more due to some big pieces are kind of falling into place in the Pac-12. So we're going to talk about that. But first, we're going to start with the Texas Longhorns and talk about the impact players for 2024. So what I've done is I've got 10 players, 5 of which I need to be at a certain caliber for the season, 3 of which don't have to hit as high of expectations, and then 2 that honestly just kind of have to show up and be decent enough for us. Uh, they don't have to be amazing, just good enough. Starting it off, Quinn Ewers. No surprise that he is the number one player on this chart that has to stand out. And I've got him in that top tier, which means I need him to be in the top 3 of his position in the Big 12. Going into 2023, which is actually what this should be titled, is Impact Players for 2023. You want to change that real quick while I'm talking? Going into the 2023 season, we have 12 teams now officially in the Big 12 instead of the 10 that we're used to. We've included, actually, this year we'll have 14 teams, right? Because we have 10, and then we'll have 4 more. So, yeah, we'll have 14 teams. So, even then, it makes it a little bit more difficult, honestly. But out of 14 teams, Quinn Ewers needs to be somewhere in that top 3 range, right? He needs to be top 3 in yards, top 3 in completion percentage, touchdowns, bottom 3 in interceptions. If Quinn Ewers comes out and has a big year, he is without a shadow of a doubt, the quarterback position is the number 1 position on the field. And so we need him to have a big year. Just to recap on his stats, he had 2,177 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions with a 58% completion percentage. What I'm looking for Quinn to take that next step in 2023 is probably to have his yards, instead of, he was just shy of 2,200. You probably want to see him closer to 3,000 yards, right? Which, to be fair, is kind of asking a lot. You're asking for an 823-yard jump from season to season. But last year, he didn't play in every game. He missed a couple games. So you're not asking for too terribly much. I feel like 800 yards, considering he missed – what did he miss? He missed 2 whole games, 1 against UTSA, 1 against Tech, and then 3/4 of the Bama game. Did he miss more than that?
No, it was.
Oh, and he missed all of West Virginia. Okay, hang on. Well, if he missed 3 games and 3/4 of another, he missed almost 4 games. Asking for 800 more yards, honestly, probably isn't enough. If he stays healthy all year, I probably would actually prefer to see him probably closer to 3,400 yards, which for a college, like, that's a good year.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Max Duggan had, 30, almost 37. And then Dylan Gabriel was second with just under 32.
Right. Touchdown wise, he had 15. You got to imagine if he plays another almost 4 games, he's probably in the 20 to 22 ish. That's decent enough. I probably want to see that number north of 25 as far as touchdowns go. And completion percentage, 58% just isn't going to do it. 58% is that's Garbo on a tier list.
He was down there with Spencer Sanders on that one for sure.
Yeah, I need his completion percentage to probably hover around that 67, 68%. If he's hovering around that spot, anything better than that is pretty solid. And I think he'd be doing good. What do you think? Is there anything I'm missing? I mean, sacks. He got sacked 11 times.
I mean, how many of those came against Baylor, though, after y'all's right guard got hurt?
Like 3 in a row.
Exactly. So, yeah. I mean, we can bump that down to 8. There might have been maybe 9 in that Baylor game, just take away 2 of those back-to-back ones.
Yeah.
But my thing is just the completion percentage. I mean, 58.1. Yeah, he's a redshirt freshman. Dude's supposed to be a true freshman.
Yeah. Didn't play his senior year of ball. There's a lot of development in that senior year of high school.
Yeah, I mean, and anybody that knows football can see that he didn't have the best chemistry with Xavier Worthy right off the bat. I mean, in practice, yeah, it looked good in all the clips that they post on Twitter, but that's what they're gonna post to Twitter to try to hype everybody up.
Right, all the good
But
stuff.
yeah, on the field though, you could see that something was missing there. Jay Witt had a great season.
Well, hang on. We can't get ahead of. We're on a tier list here.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, like, why it's like that. But
well, since you talked about Xavier Worthy, he's second on the list, anyways. We'll go ahead and jump in Xavier Worthy.
Fine.
And here's the thing: if y'all, I got to take a step back. On Twitter, towards the end of the season, a lot of Texas fans giving Xavier Worthy crap, and I get it. His body language was kind of terrible.
It was terrible.
But you also but listen. You also have to take into consideration what has Xavier Worthy done since he's been on campus. In 2 years with the Texas Longhorns, he has played in 12 and 12. He's played in 25 games, and he has 21 touchdowns. That stat alone might put him in the top tier of all-time Texas Longhorn receivers. 21 touchdowns in 25 games. That's solid.
That's pretty good.
I'd say so. All the issues we had last year with him, he still led the Big 12 in touchdowns. And actually, I was listening to Orange Bloods. If y'all don't watch them, go check out Jeff Ketchum and Anwar Richardson over on Orange Bloods. And they were saying that there's not a single receiver in the country that is a true junior going into this season that has better stats than Xavier Worthy in the main 3 categories: receptions, yards, and touchdowns. That's including guys like Marvin Harrison. In the first 2 years of college football, Marvin Harrison does not have better stats than Xavier Worthy. Now, wow. I didn't fact check that, but that's what Jeff Ketchum said. And they kind of have a lot of hot takes, but a lot of it seems pretty accurate. What I need out of Xavier Worthy this year, last season, 60 receptions, 760 yards, 9 touchdowns. For him to take a next step to be top tier for what Texas needs to reach their goals of for sure a Big 12 championship, we have to have it. This is our last year in the Big 12. We have to get a Big 12 championship. I probably want to see Xavier Worthy. I wouldn't say he has to hit 1,000 yards. I don't think that's the case. And the only reason I say that is because if Isaiah Nayor comes back healthy, and now A.D. Mitchell, the transfer out of Georgia, there's going to be a lot of highly talented mouths to feed, and it's going to be hard for Xavier Worthy to reach 1,000 yards if you've got 2 other stud receivers on the field and Jatavian Sanders.
Yeah.
So I don't know as if, honestly, for Xavier Worthy, if I could say that there's a specific amount of yards or touchdowns that I need to see from him. I just need to see a little bit more consistency. Him and Quinn, like you mentioned, it doesn't seem like they're on the same page every play. And then drops. He had, I think, 7 drops last year. 2 of them were in that bowl game. Just a little bit more consistency. That's all I need out of him. I honestly think he's probably going to go down as the absolute best Texas Longhorn receiver stat-wise. I don't know if Longhorn fans like myself are going to look back in 15 years and say he was as good as like the way I remember Jordan Shipley. Jordan Shipley's an absolute stud in my mind. But when Jordan Shipley was on campus in 2009, I was 11. So I'm remembering it. I know he was great. I loved watching him. It's one of my favorite numbers, 8. But is Jordan Shipley as good as Xavier Worthy? Probably not, actually. Like, just pure talent-wise. So I just need that consistency out of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hard for Xavier Worthy to boost his numbers whenever y'all have everybody with John Tay Cook coming in, who's gonna get snaps. Probably not a abundance of them, but he's gonna see the field this season. Now, will they only play him in 4 games so he can keep a red shirt? Might not be a terrible idea, but at the same time, I feel like he's such a big talent that he could be like, all right, I want to come in and play. Like, right. first off the bench, that's fine, whatever. Because, like I said, y'all's receiver room is crazy stacked. But Ja'Tavion Sanders is probably one of the best top 3 tight ends in the nation for me. I love watching how he plays. Now, he's no Brock Bowers, but Brock Bowers is up there. But y'all skills positions are stupid. I couldn't imagine that being at Baylor and being worried about anything. So I could see where it'd definitely be hard for Quinn to get chemistry with every single one of them. Because I mean, who do you throw the ball to?
We need.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I'm right there with you. Xavier Worthy is the most dynamic person, probably in that receiving room. That at the moment,
I think so.
And if you can't get him open, like throw him open, it's not hard to do. Dude is stupid fast. Like you got to work on something. You got to work on the deep ball accuracy.
I agree. Moving on to our third player, and once again, these are guys that need to be in the top tier at their position. I've got Barron Sorrell, defensive end. Last season, he finished the season with 5.5 sacks, 44 total tackles, 27 assisted, 17 solos. What we're asking out of this for him to take that next step, and Logan, will you pull up the Big 12 sack leaders? To be in top 3, we're not asking you to go out there and get 15, right? I would say, I don't know the number. Logan's going to look it up. I would say probably like 8.5 sacks probably puts you at near the top of the Big 12.
That would have you at 2 for this year. It'd have you at 2.
Who finished first?
Dylan Horton from TCU with 10.
With how many? So what was third?
Do what?
What was third? Who did the third in sacks?
7.5 D winners from TCU. Tyree Wilson from Tech had 7.
So 7 sacks. So he had 5.5. He can get 2.5 more sacks. He can do that. That's easy, and that'd put him at 8. And so if Barron Sorrell takes another step, gets 8.5 sacks, then you're looking at a defense. Because last year we got so much pressure on the quarterback, but we couldn't hit home. If this season we have a defensive end that can actually hit home more, and don't get me wrong, Barron Sorrell had 5.5. In 2021, our leading defensive player had 2.5, and it was a linebacker, Ben Davis. That's ridiculous. The fact that the leading guy in sack wasn't even on the defensive line. And for those of y'all watching, go ahead and drop us in the comment. Who do y'all think? Who are we missing so far? And maybe you'll have somebody else on our list. You have anything to add on Barron Sorrell?
I mean, not too terribly much, really.
Right. Yeah. Defensive end is one of those overlooked positions.
I think you hit the nail right on the head on that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, moving into our fourth guy, Ryan Watts. Ryan Watts last season showed the dude's a stud already. I mean, he started for Ohio State before he transferred to the University of Texas. He finished the season with 53 total tackles. He had 1 sack, 3 passes defended, and an interception. And honestly, when you look at it, this doesn't have like the real in-depth stats. Like it doesn't have how many passes he gave up or the yards per completion or how many times he was actually targeted. It doesn't have none of that. What I'm thinking for Ryan Watts is if you go into your junior year, you're the number 1 DB. If we could get 3 interceptions and maybe a forced fumble or 2 out of you, I think that puts you in a good enough position where you are a leader on the defense. You are what would actually be called a game-changing player and puts us in a situation where now our defense mixed with Barron Sorrell getting sacks and maybe him getting pressure on the quarterback is causing them to throw the ball your way, and you're in a good position to make a play on the ball. Between that, a couple interceptions, a couple turnovers, forced fumbles, I think that's putting our defense in an absolute amazing situation. And I think if anybody's going to do it at the DB position, it's got to be Ryan Watts. He's tall. He's got the reach for it. He's quick enough to keep up with any DB or any receiver on the field. The dude's a stud.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the guys I was most excited to watch like Ryan Watts was my number one secondary player for y'all. And if they were playing somebody, say Xavier Hutchinson, Quentin Johnston, who was I telling you every day of that week who they need to have on them? Ryan Watts.
And
that
they
dude is a
usually did.
dog.
They usually
Was
did.
He's 6'3" or 6'4"?
I think he's 6'3". Like the dude's just
dude is a freak athlete. All I'm saying is
6'3",
that
206.
dang, he's kind of big too.
Yeah, he's
I'm just
got a good
saying,
size.
I wouldn't want that corner lined up against me for sure.
No,
Like he's not going to get beat on 50-50 balls. If he does, who is he jumping with?
Right.
Like who do they have at receiver? I mean,
and a lot of the big name receivers are leaving. Quentin Johnston, Xavier Hutchinson.
Yep.
Like this year's going to be tough for receivers in the Big 12, other than schools named Texas. We got all the talent. See if our quarterback can get him the ball. The fifth guy, this is the last guy that I feel like has to maintain a high level of success for our team. The first two were offense. The second two were on defense. And for the fifth spot, we're going to stay on the defensive side of the ball. We're going Jalen Ford. And I'm not going to give him any stats that he needs to do better in. Repeat last season. Jalen Ford just does what last season, what he did, do it again.
Yeah.
And the dude's a first-round NFL draft pick. If he finds a way to improve on that, just to remind y'all, 119 total tackles, 2 sacks, 2 passes defended, 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. The dude was absolutely everywhere. He made the biggest plays in the biggest moments, and there's just nothing else we can say about. I mean, the dude's a stud. We all thought DeMarvion Overshown was going to be our biggest defensive player last year. No, it was.
He wasn't too far behind. I mean, as far as
he wasn't too far behind.
As far as watching the game, yeah. I mean, as far as watching the game, Jalen Ford was that guy. 1,000% was that guy.
Overshown wasn't far behind on tackles, but he had no interceptions. Where Jalen Ford had 2. He had no forced or no. Jalen Ford had 4 interceptions. DeMarvion Overshown had no forced fumbles. Jalen Ford had 2. He had no fumble recoveries. Jalen Ford had 2. As far as tackles, yeah, DeMarvion Overshown, solid field general. He's going to be there, hat to a ball. Turnovers, though, Jalen Ford's an absolute stud.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're looking for if you're playing Madden, that user linebacker is Jalen Ford, 1,000%. We've been playing a lot of Madden here lately, so we're trying to get into all that, but if you're looking for somebody that is going to make a play, Jalen Ford, 1,000%.
Send us your gamer tag. DM us on Twitter your gamer tag for Madden on Xbox, and see if y'all can beat me. I'm pretty good. All right, moving into the second tier. Line it up then. Bryce Walker.
Ooh.
You don't want the smoke.
Oh.
He might want the smoke. I don't know. I'm not that good. Logan makes it sound like I'm so much better than I am. I'll line it up.
Trash.
We'll run it.
We'll run
it. The second tier is guys who – so the first tier, you need to be top 3 in the Big 12. This one, I'm saying top 6 or 7, so about just middle of the Big 12. We don't need nothing amazing out of you. Just be a little bit above average. And to start that off, I'm going with Jonathan Brooks, which the running back position is a huge position, especially for us, but we don't need him. For example, if he was 6th in the Big 12 last year, he would have had just about 1,000 yards. That's all I want. If our running back position can get us 1,000 yards, then I think we are getting more than enough out of that position to elevate our offense, where we're able to run the ball well, to set up the play action, RPOs, get the safeties, get the linebackers to bite down, take the top off with Worthy or A.D. Mitchell, and go from there. We have great blockers. Jatavion Sanders, he's a good blocker. We have great offensive linemen this year. We have all 5 coming back. Our run game should be set up perfectly for Jonathan Brooks to just go in, even with little experience. He should be able to get 4 or 5 rushing yards a play just based off the push from the offensive line. Any after that is just talent. So just bare minimum from him.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, from a Baylor point of view, It sounds like a great thing to return all of your starting linemen, but how it worked out for us this year, it was terrible. Terrible.
Because y'all didn't have any receiving game. Your rushing offense was super
Yeah,
solid.
I mean, Richard Reese.
But you had nothing on the offensive
Jones.
passing game that was a threat. So people just play the run.
Exactly.
And even with people playing the run, Richard Reese ran all over people.
Yeah, I'm so excited about him. I'm so excited. Yeah. But anyways, I mean, I hope it's a good thing for y'all until week 4? 4?
Week 4 is going to be cakewalk.
No. So, it might be.
We're going to
it might be.
And no problems whatsoever. Yeah, maybe. I think our run game will be all right, and that's why I kind of have him in that middle tier. If you put him anything above that, you're expecting him to come out and do Bijan stuff, and I can't expect Jonathan Brooks to go have 1,400 yards rushing this year, 1,000 yards rushing. Give me 150 receiving yards. I'll take 12 touchdowns total. I think that's good enough. It's not amazing, but it's good enough to get the job done. Moving on to the next player. We talked about him in the blocking game. Let's talk about him in the receiving game. Ja'Tavion Sanders. We don't need an amazing season out of him. Honestly, he's kind of like an Xavier Worthy, where I don't need. Was it Xavier Worthy? Yeah, we don't need more stats per se. He had 652 yards. No, he didn't. He had 613 yards and 5 touchdowns. If he's putting up those numbers again, I feel good. He was already the number 1 tight end in the Big 12 last year. Just replicate that. Don't have a drop-off. Work on your blocking more, and he's going to be probably not day 1, maybe day 2 or early day 3 NFL draft pick after next season. Just come out, play your game. I'd love to see him over 750 yards, but once again, it's hard to ask that from your receiving group when you have Isaiah Nayor coming back healthy, hopefully, and a guy like A.D. Mitchell. It's just going to be hard to – unless Quinn has
I forgot about
4,700 yards. Exactly.
Dang.
Unless Quinn has like 4,700 passing yards, it's going to be – can't leave my mailbox, though. Dang it, boy. You knew he was going to jump in here eventually.
I forgot about that.
Bodie, I haven't met you. I've delivered your mail too eventually at some point or another. But I've heard all about how you found us on the channel. For those of y'all, hey, Bodie, he's an Oklahoma fan, so we appreciate him joining the chat.
Yeah, he's one of the smart ones.
About as smart as they could be, I suppose. The next guy I have, honestly, this might be a little underwhelming for some of y'all, but I think it's a big deal. It's our kicker, Bert Auburn. Middle of the Big 12. Don't be worse than that. Hear me out. We missed 5 field goals last season. 5 of them. And at least 2, I think 3 of them were like going into halftime, missing a field goal. 1 against Bama. Yep. How many points did we lose to Bama by? 1. How many points is a field goal worth? 3. Simple math. Not saying the rest of the game plays out the exact same way, but I'm saying kicking that field goal and making it, that's a big deal. Bert Auburn, take a step forward. You're another year in the program. You got more consistency to work on. You've got confidence that you need to build. Just be good. Just don't suck. Did he tell you I caught him? Yeah, I think he did. I think he did tell me that.
Yeah, I tried to send it in our group chat, but it wouldn't send for some reason. But was that your last person?
That's my last one on that tier. The next tier is a little bit lower.
Okay, got you. I was about to throw somebody out there that I thought, but I'll wait.
Well, go ahead, throw him out.
I mean, I figured you were going to say something about Kelvin Banks.
I mean, Kelvin Banks is probably already the best left tackle in
that's what I'm saying. Just do what you did last
honesty,
year.
As a true freshman, I feel like there's a solid argument that he might be the best left tackle in college football. Top 5 left tackle. The dude didn't give up almost anything.
He was probably
I don't think he
the
gave
best.
up a single sack, and I think he only gave up a few QB pressures.
I want to say, I don't know about in the whole country. I want probably the best freshman last year.
Oh, 100%.
Mainly because I don't know about all the left tackles in the nation, but
it'd be hard for
Georgia's
me to believe
offensive
there's a
line.
left tackle better than that. That
I mean,
didn't give up a single sack. It's
maybe.
hard for me to believe that there's 9 people better.
I would put him top 10. I would be confident in top 10. I'm not sure about where at per se, or even I don't know. I don't pay enough attention to left tackles like I probably should. I know that ours was terrible. And Blake Chapin cannot break pressure to save his life for some reason.
All right.
Still better than Dylan Gabriel.
Guys. Easy money. DG garbage. Anyways, I got 2 more guys. These people, I just need top 10. Top 10 to 12. That's pretty much bottom. But when you think about it this way, it's not. It's top 10 at your position. So this guy, Jalen Catalon, he's a transfer from Arkansas. He's a safety. He needs to be one of the 10 best safeties in the Big 12. And that's really not asking a whole lot. And to be honest, he's probably a guy who's way too low on this list. We probably need better production out of our safety. But he's going to be new to the defense. He's been hurt the last couple of years. And I don't want to say he has to come in and be a top 3 safety because that DB positions are hard. If he's top 10 at the safety position, and that's just all safeties, right? So there's 2 on each team. So really, could be, maybe he's top 10 safety, but he's top 4 of strong or free safeties or whatever he is. Come in, play solid run stuff. If you're the strong safety, play solid run stuff. If you're not, then cover. Just cover. Don't let anybody beat you. Couple interceptions. That's all we're asking for. Nothing amazing. Catalon, he was solid when he was at Arkansas his first year. I think he was an all SEC safety, so we know he's got the talent. But once again, he has been hurt. I think it was a shoulder and a hand injury. If he can overcome those, come to Texas. I think he's already on campus, so he'll be there for spring ball. Have plenty of time to learn the plays. Just get on the field and put in some work. You probably don't have it. You don't know anything about him.
I haven't looked anything out of him.
I've seen some plays. He could be a big hitter.
We gave Arkansas three of our DBs this offseason, and I'm at least y'all could at least get one of them back for us.
Start one.
Appreciate that. But
the last player on my list is a true freshman. Just be top 10. It's your true freshman season, and I truly believe he's going to start. So we need him to be average. He doesn't have to be amazing. He's a freshman, but he can't suck. Can't be the 14th best linebacker in the Big 12. Anthony Hill. He's a highly, highly, highly rated and highly recruited guy. Chose to come to Texas over tons of schools, including A&M and Alabama and Oklahoma. They all wanted him. He changed the game to Texas. He's going to play. DeMarvion Overshown's gone. He's going to play. He's going to take that starting spot. I truly believe that. Where you're looking at DeMarvion Overshown, who had 95 total tackles, and then Jalen Ford had 120. We're losing a lot of production. There's going to be plenty of tackles to go around. If Anthony Hill, as a true freshman, hovers somewhere around that 65, 70 tackle range, get an interception, force a fumble, I think that's good enough. That's solid. Especially if he gets 2 turnovers, you got to imagine. I'll take 2 turnovers in a guy and lose 30 tackles. I'd rather have the guy with 2 turnovers and less tackles than DeMarvion Overshown with a ton of tackles. So other people can get those tackles. The ball's hitting the ground. Nobody can intercept it. We need some turnovers.
I think DeMarvion not being able to get any turnovers is kind of – he played a lot more edge this year than I think that he's used to necessarily. But
edge,
I get what you're saying. I mean, you still want to be able to see those
so I guess
stats.
he played a decent amount.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of times I saw him coming off the edge and making big tackles, or it would be like a delayed blitz kind of thing, just trying to
He
throw
had
off the quarterback.
He had 5 passes defended, so he was in coverage. I mean,
Yeah, he was in coverage a good bit then.
That's more passes defended than Ryan Watts. Ryan Watts only had 3, so
That's
he's
such a
in
weird
coverage.
stat. Such a weird stat.
Yeah, it's kind of. I swear there'd be plays where the DB or whoever will hit the ball straight down and not get a pass defended off of it. But
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
That's my list. Those are my top 10 guys that have to be impact players for the 2023 season. And let me know what y'all think. If y'all think there's somebody else who should have been on that list, I understand Bert Auburn's kind of a weird one to be on there, but you can't tell me the kicking game don't matter. 3 points is Very 3 points true. Can go long. If y'all had 3 more,
I mean, look at
TCU's kicker do for y'all. That mattered. 3 points matters. If he was a bottom 12, bottom Big 12 kicker,
Ohio State versus Georgia. He could have thrown that out
Texas
there. He didn't have to
Bama.
Throw that.
Well, that's the one that's on my mind. Texas versus Bama. We make that field goal going into half. The game could have played out a lot different. Not saying that it would have.
Baylor beat Oklahoma by a field goal.
Yeah, we beat Oklahoma by a ton of field goals.
49.
Bodie, appreciate you. I'm sorry, but it's 9:20. You sucks. So, but that's wrapping that up. That's wrapping the Texas Impact players. Yeah, let's talk real quick to people watching. We've got a giveaway going on, and we just announced the winner on Twitter. If he sees it, he'll DM us. If he doesn't, we're gonna have to announce another one. So y'all make sure y'all are following us on Twitter so you see the announcement for giveaways. We're gonna do another one at 1,000. If we can reach there by September 1st, we're gonna do a ticket giveaway and try to get one of y'all to go to a game with us. Would be preferred if you're a Texas or a Baylor fan. We're gonna try to go to the Texas Baylor game. If you're not, that's all good. Bodie, if you win, then we'll just get you a ticket to crappy Sooner games.
We'll think about
hopefully it. Hopefully one that y'all lose. But
it won't be against Baylor because y'all are too scared for that. So
for those of y'all watching, if y'all trying to save some money because the economy is not doing so hot and your insurance is too high, they kept calling me saying that they were gonna jack my insurance up, and actually they did it twice. Give Casey Crutcher a call at 903-948-5195 at Rollo Insurance and see what he can save you on your home, auto, life, health, and business commercial insurance. He was able to save me and my wife $40 a month. Doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it goes a long way. And if you put all that aside for the next few months, you can get tickets to whichever, not necessarily Longhorn game, but whichever football game you want to go to. That's for the states of Texas, New Mexico, Utah, Georgia, Colorado, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. Moving right along. We've got the Big 12 potentially expanding a little bit more, mainly because the Pac-12 is falling apart. Logan, I'm going to let you take the lead on all this because you've been sending me nonstop stuff. And to be honest, like I was saying at work, Texas is going to the SEC. It's final. I've kind of taken the Big 12 and just set them aside. They're the conference that we have to go through another year. And with that being said, I don't want to see the Big 12 fall apart. So I'm hoping that whatever's going on with the Pac-12, hopefully whatever's going on with the Pac-12 can put a little fire under somebody's rear end to get a team like Oregon or Washington, Utah. Logan seems to think these Arizona schools, but I don't really think that's good. But if that's what it has to be, it's what it has to be. And see where these chips fall. What do you got for us, Logan?
Okay, so I just went into a rabbit hole on this guy's account on Twitter. I don't even know how it popped up. But anyways, this guy's been tweeting a whole lot about all the Pac-12 deals and how the Pac-12 schools are mad at Kilovkov, or however you say his last name. Yeah, Kilov.
Who is that? That's their
commissioner. Their commissioner. and about how terrible these television deals are. But I mean, it's kind of something that you should have saw coming whenever you lost UCLA and USC to the Big Ten, losing the biggest market that you have in that conference. I mean,
the LA market, huge.
Exactly. If you go to Los Angeles, I've only been once, and I went from an airport right to a boat. That's it. But I can almost guarantee that if you walk around and ask somebody, "Hey, what college football team you like?" They're saying UCLA or USC. Nobody's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I like Cal." Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, I mean, just look at the fact that they're both in Los Angeles. Like, what other town has two major? Obviously, USC is a much bigger brand than UCLA, but what other town is big enough to have two major college football brands?
I mean, if the Pac-12 signs SMU, then it'll be the DFW area. But I'm joking.
But even
That's
then,
complete. That
TCU
was
and
a joke.
SMU together.
That's a complete joke. But
I don't even
I
know if
mean,
they're as relevant as UCLA, and I don't think UCLA is all that. I mean, I guess I'm in the playoffs.
No.
Whatever that means.
Recently, no. I mean, if you ask an Oklahoma fan, it means everything, regardless of the score. Anyways, so the one that I think caught my eye the most was just talking about the Pac-12's potential media partners being Amazon and ESPN. So Fox is out, CBS is out, NBC out. Everybody except for ESPN and Amazon is out.
ESPN though. You got to imagine if ESPN wants in, why don't they just try to get those guys to dip over to the SEC? ESPN already has the SEC.
They also have the Big 12. Maybe they don't want to mess with their ESPN or their SEC stuff. They probably just like it how it is right now, especially.
Well, then I would just cut ties with the Pac-12 and then force either Amazon to give them a stupid good deal, which Amazon might be able to do.
They won't.
I don't know, man.
See,
a lot of people are switching to the streaming stuff.
Yeah, and look how that worked out for the NFL, though. How many people watch Thursday night games?
But they were all garbage. They were all absolute garbage games.
The Broncos played in like 4 of them. What are you talking about?
Exactly. The Broncos suck.
I know. But, I mean, okay, so here's the deal breakdown. As of the 16th was the first time I checked this guy's profile out. Pac-12 has an offer from Amazon and ESPN on the table. He dropped some details about it the night before, just talking about like what's in this next little part of the thread. Amazon deal is a 2-year deal with an option for 2 more for basically tier 1 rights. So they want the best game of the week. That's it. They just want one game a week, and it has to be the best one. ESPN's a 5-year deal for tier 2 and some tier 3. So they're pretty much going to get the ESPN 2s at most, ESPN Plus, and they're still going to keep the Pac-12 network, which is garbage. Amazon is offering $100 million a year. ESPN also offering $100 million per year, which they have 10 schools. It's only $20 million a year to stay around in a conference that is on the brink of destruction. I mean, everybody that they're talking about bringing in, San Diego State, SMU, I've seen Tulane and Tulsa thrown out there, and I think UNLV was one of them. Everybody on that list except for UNLV that I know of has reached out to Brett Yormark, say, hey, what do you got? Like, where do y'all stand at with us? The only team I could, and SMU might be the only one that I personally would bring in, maybe Tulane because they're down there in Louisiana. But at the same time, exactly, because the ESPN is only going to add money for Power 5 schools, which being, all the Pac-12 schools, basically. So ESPN contract will have a prorated clause for 2 editions. But, I mean, if they can go get the Oregon and Washington of the Pac-12, they're going to change that a little bit. I mean,
but the interesting thing that I don't think you've said yet is that a lot of this negotiation where these Pac-12 teams could go to the Big 12 has a caveat to it, right?
Yeah, talking about Washington and Georgia.
if the Big Ten comes calling, they
Georgia,
immediately
Oregon.
get out. Yeah, they immediately get out of that contract. So they're saying, hey, we'll join the Big 12. We'll leave the Pac-12, go to the Big 12. But if the Big 10 calls and they want us, we get to get out without any negatives. There's not going to be a penalty, which then you got to figure as the Big 12, do you want to make that move to where you have a super, super temporary false sense of security? Or do you say, we'll offer you something good, but if you come, you're part of this conference. You can't just dip out, or we're going to just go ahead and go after people who want to be here, not people who just want to be here, as long as it's good enough. And then something better comes along, then we'll dip out.
See, I see both sides of it. At the same time, Big Ten could turn around if the ACC starts to fall apart somehow, even though it
But
won't,
the
because
ACC
their
has
grain of
so
rights is
long before
stupid.
they're
Exactly. I mean, but
like 2033 or something.
I think the only way that the Big Ten comes after these schools is that if the SEC starts poking at them, like, hey, what you got going on here? I don't see the SEC going all the way up to the Northwest neither. At the same time, I mean, it's the Southeastern Conference. I mean, yeah, they're working a little bit of Midwest, whatever you want to call the state of Texas and Oklahoma. It's weird. Personally, I see the Big Ten going more after Notre Dame and the ACC schools before that they go after Oregon and Washington. But if we can keep them for about 10 years, cool. That's good, I think. And cut ties, cool, whatever. We're still going to be a healthy conference, hopefully, at that time, unless stuff starts changing, getting picked apart, all that.
I don't know. 10 years is a long time.
I mean,
because I don't think it'll be. All right, 2024 is the first year of a 12-team playoff. I bet we get 4 or 5 seasons of that before we go to a larger playoffs. And once there's more spots, these mega conferences, they can take on more and more top tier teams, because if you can lose one more game, we can have one more tough game. If you win it, cool. If you lose, it doesn't matter. You still make the playoffs. So it's like, as long as the playoff keeps expanding, these super conferences that are, 14-team conferences, 16-team conferences, if you add 12 more spots, they can lose one more game and still make it. They'll just add more teams.
True.
So it'd be tough to keep for 10 years. I feel like that'd be tough.
True.
Not impossible. Especially but that's the thing. If the Big 12, what's up, Jason?
What's up,
Joining us
man?
from Hall of Fame college football podcast. Y'all go check him out. Especially you, Bodie. If you're still watching, he's a Oklahoma channel.
Yeah, that's your Oklahoma guy right there, Bodie.
Yeah, if you are ever on YouTube looking for some Oklahoma stuff, Jason is your guy. He goes live all the time, super interactive with the people in his chat. But if the Big 12 can get to a point where, say, y'all do get a team like Oregon, and who's the other one? Was it Washington?
Yeah,
where
Washington
they're saying they could come,
is what we're talking about right now.
They're dipping. Right.
Yeah,
So if Oregon and Washington come to the SEC or the Big 12, sorry, and y'all can actually create a sense of, I wouldn't say dominance, but make your presence known in the college football world, which that would help 100%. Because if Oregon and Washington came to the Big 12, they would be the 2 biggest schools there. They'd be the most relevant. They'd recruit the best. They'd probably be winning the conference championship the most. They'd be in the playoff every year, maybe. Well, one of them probably would be if they're winning the Big 12, because the conference champ gets in the game.
True. Very true.
If they're doing that and they're making it every year in the Big 10 calls, maybe they don't leave. Maybe they just say, you know what, we'll ride it out here in the Big 12, which then by then will probably be called the Big 16. And we'll just keep winning this conference every year because we're making the playoffs, so we'll have our shot at a title. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, even if we don't get those schools to come in, Utah is a team that's upset. Colorado is another team that I'm pretty sure Dion wants to come to the Big 12. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised. The Arizona schools are reportedly very mad, and that's why Arizona schools, I'm like, okay, these are the guys that we're going to bring in. But at the same time, I'd rather have Utah, Colorado, Oregon, Washington but I don't see us getting those top. What I'm going to say is the top 4 at the moment schools. I mean, Arizona State's definitely coming up for sure, but at the same time, it's kind of, I don't know. But
Jason's saying that they have to bring him in. I'm guessing that's Oregon and Washington. What do you think the odds of that actually are, though? Like from what you're reading, how likely do you think it actually is that they join? And what's a timeline that you're seeing, or have you seen a timeline?
I really haven't seen one. It's all just trying to wait for the Pac-12's best offer, and I don't see it changing much.
Is their media rights is that all done for 2025, kind of like the Big 12's was?
I don't think so. I think that's what they're waiting on.
Jason thinks it could happen. Have you seen anything, Jason, as far as when a timeline? I don't know. I think it'd be big, especially if it happens along the same lines of obviously 2024 is way too early for it to happen because we're already about to start the 23 offseason or the spring ball and all that. But you got to think maybe 2025. They have nothing but streaming. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews on that. A lot of people are going for streaming now, and he's saying Oregon and Washington are against the streaming.
Yep.
And that's the thing is, if you're the 2 biggest schools, other than Utah, I guess, if you're the 2 biggest schools and they're saying no, it's kind of like Texas and Oklahoma, right? How often, we're the 2 big boys in the program and we're not getting enough of a say and stuff. Other conferences want us. Why stay? Why stay?
I mean, my biggest thing is if you're these big schools and George Kiovkov, or however you say his last name, which I'm never going to get it 1,000% right, is just going straight for streaming and that's all he can get, what do you do? That's the one thing you don't want to do. Like, the Big 12 has Fox, ESPN. Now, our smaller games, I personally, I had to watch most of the Baylor games on ESPN Plus, which is cool. I have Disney Plus, doesn't bother me to just go over to ESPN Plus. But I'm not going to pay however much it is for this Amazon streaming if I'm a Pac-12 fan. And I don't want my fans to do that either if I'm the school. It's just inconvenient. But like I said,
yeah, especially if you're already paying for Dish or DirecTV, and you're just like, I just want to watch football. I'm not gonna pay for this just to watch one game a week. But here's the problem: is how much do the conferences care? If Amazon's gonna give them enough money, they just all right. I don't care. And that's what college football is becoming. It's just a money market where it's money, money, money. And I get it. That's coming from the Texas fan that, let's be honest, Texas makes a ton of decisions based on money, money.
SEC now.
Right. But at the same time, there's a little bit, and I'm biased, I get it, but there's a little bit of a difference when you're one of the programs bringing in the money, money, money. You should get a say in where the money's going. You should get a say in how it's being used and how it's being divvied up. If I'm bringing home the check, I'm gonna pay the bills the way I see fit. And I don't know, Oregon's probably not doing that for their conference at the same level.
My thing is on that, I get what you're saying, but my thing is that the money's not going where they want it to. Obviously, I mean, if it's going straight to streaming because George can't get a better deal, which is because they haven't been able to bring anybody in that's worth anything because the Big 12 plucked the 4 at the time best G5 schools that were available. I mean, if he was on it and wanted to worry about it, it was there. Bodie, that's where I'm at too. Is that I don't see very many people going out and paying for streaming instead of just Disney Plus $14 a month, whatever.
Yeah,
but
why pay $14 a month if you're already paying $85 a month for a dish?
See, I don't.
I do.
I don't. That's your own fault.
That's the only way I can watch football. Well, Gotta watch
I get
football
what you're
somehow.
saying. I get what you're saying. But that's my one complaint with Fox as well while we're talking about it is that what are they doing with Dish and DirecTV this whole past year trying to just cut them off
And that's
completely.
I guess that's the good thing about streaming is you don't have to. I remember Texas and Oklahoma in 2021. It was like the day before or the morning of the game. ABC just decided they were gonna cut Dish Network, and I was like, well, had my dad over. We were getting ready to watch the game, and no, couldn't watch it. So I don't know. And that happened with another channel this year. So there's a pro to the streaming is you don't have to worry about that. But the con is the quality. I don't feel like the
Yeah.
streaming quality is as good.
ESPN
And that's
Plus was
probably
just way worse than a regular ESPN game for sure.
a
But
thing that'll get better eventually. It's still a new-ish concept. It's not super new, but it's still new-ish. It'll get better. And I think eventually you might see the streaming take over if Dish and DirecTV just die. But other than that, and bro, Bodie's guy, he said the hot and ready ain't even $5 no more. It's true. It's like 7 something. It's like $7.29.
exactly.
How am I gonna pay for streaming if I can't even get a $5 foot long? $5 hot and ready
For
pizza.
real.
This is
For
terrible.
real. I remember
Need a better
CC's
cost
used
of
to
living
be
adjustment.
24 foot long at CC's or whatever for $5. Talking about the buffet.
24. Oh,
That's how long. Yeah. Talking about the buffet. I remember seeing those commercials all the time, but now it's like $40 for me and the family to go out over there. Like, no, I'm good. I'll pass.
mm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't see Amazon offering the Pac-12 much more money than what they already are, unless ESPN just completely dips out, and then they'll probably throw in an extra $5 million per school per year. Like if they see that ESPN doesn't want to work with the Pac-12 anymore, okay, y'all got nothing else. Here, take this little chump change and go on with it.
If okay, let's just do a hypothetical. In your opinion, do you think it's just gonna be Oregon and Washington, or do you think the Arizona schools or Utah is gonna go with them? Do you think it's just gonna be 2 or 4? Like
First
if
wave,
they went to the Big 12.
if we're talking waves, I would say first wave would probably be Colorado, Utah. No, I'd say the Arizona school is probably first. Is who's going to be the first ones to say, "Hey, look, we're moving."
See, that's the
But
problem. Is I just don't
that's
think
not
those
what I
schools
want to
matter
happen.
enough.
I know, but
Because
that's what
if
I'm
those
saying.
schools
That's
dip
not what I
out,
want to happen.
well, if those schools dip out, then the Pac-12 only has 8 teams.
And it's also the only Arizona schools.
So Jason, man,
Wow.
ESPN made their final offer, and the only ones offering are Amazon and Apple. I did see that Apple, Fox, CBS, NBC are not interested.
I didn't see anything
Yeah.
about Apple. That's wild. So
I saw that
ESPN's
earlier
top is $10 million per school per year.
What's the Big 12 schools? Do you know what they're making now?
I want to say it's 40 for Fox. No. It's for Fox and ESPN, so it's split. It's double.
Okay,
that.
so do you think, and that's going to be like starting in 2025? That's the new, because the granted rights goes through. Okay, so if they get new schools, do they get to renegotiate the price, or is ESPN 31.6 is what Jason says? Do they get to renegotiate because?
Yep.
But we'll make it 50. So yeah, that's a good. So man, yeah, why take 10 million if you can dip out to the SEC or the Big 12 and get almost 50?
Why would you, if there's a loyalty to the conference and you're stupid enough to take a $30 million pay cut just by moving a different conference and to better what am I trying to say here? Views.
But you have to take into consideration things that like USC and UCLA, what did they catch for leaving? All their fan base is saying, how do you expect us to travel to Michigan and Ohio State once a year, twice a year? How are we going to travel to these away games?
I mean, BYU's doing it now, so Utah doesn't have an excuse.
Right, but you've gotta say there is some point, like Texas and Oklahoma didn't really have this problem. We're Southern schools, we're just as close to some of these schools as we were to some of the other, right? We're closer to we're closer to A&M playing them and LSU than we are to Lawrence, Kansas, right? And so you gotta kind of have to see from that point of view. Your fan base is going to be super. Paxton says, "Hook 'em horns, baby. I have horns covering tonight." Oh yeah, the basketball game, they're killing it. 62-43 over Iowa State. Yeah, I saw the better score. I wasn't gonna say nothing.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
You gotta imagine that, taking into consideration the fans and the traveling. How much money do you lose on ticket sales by doing something like that? You're going to go to a conference where your fans can't travel. How many games are you going to lose if your fans don't travel?
What fans show up to a Pac-12 game in the first place?
It's kind of true. UCLA stands were bare.
I mean, if you go to Oregon, yeah, Autzen is always packed out, but that's Oregon. But anybody in California is not showing up.
Going to travel? Are
Oregon fans are all over the country,
to West Virginia?
There's Oregon fans all over the place, and I guarantee you, if they schedule a game 2.5 hours down the road,
though. All the fans you see around East Texas that are Oregon fans, they're not real fans. They're the jerseys are dope. They don't have a color. They're casuals who think Oregon has dope jerseys. I guarantee you. My little cousin was like that, and I was like, listen, kid. I guarantee you, most of the people you see now wearing Oregon stuff, if they're young, it's because they have dope jerseys. They don't really care about college football. They probably couldn't name a single player on the team, and that's why they have an Oregon shirt on. I don't think they're going to travel very well. Like LA, you got to think though, UCLA fans, they didn't show up at all last year. But even Los Angeles, it's such a big town. There's so many people from that town who scatter out across the whole country. There's definitely more brewing fans.
I'm moving to Texas.
We're not going to talk about that.
But I'm just saying, I don't see why you wouldn't do it. I mean, like Jason said, I forgot that the pro rata is that they're going to get paid the same, so they'll get the $20 million for now, but they're going to get the exposure. They don't have to deal with streaming crap. They're going to get from ESPN will be the 10, and then 20. Dang, I'm over here thinking about Pac-12.
Is it $10 million per school if they stay? Wait, who are you talking about then? They have to leave Pac-12.
I'm talking about the Pac. Like the schools that are in the Pac-12, they'll get $10 million from ESPN, right? So if they come over here, they'll get that $10 million, but they're going to get more exposure. Don't have to deal with the streaming that nobody wants, and you're going to be on, at the moment, level ground with the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was so much easier for Texas and OU going to the SEC. It was just like it's a given.
You didn't have to delete a whole conference.
Well,
but it's also you have schools in the state. Yeah, but you did because George is over here sleeping like he's Bob Bowlesby.
The problem, what makes it easier is for Texas and OU, it was a given. You go to the SEC, you make more money, whatever. The problem was trying to figure out how we do what do we have to pay to leave early? What are the negotiations on all that? That was the problem. With this, and maybe it's because there's not even an official deal yet, right? There's just offers, so we don't know all the numbers. We feel like we know the numbers, but negotiation never ends. We learned that with Texas and OU. I had one day where the morning was like, it's a done deal, 2024. 3 hours later, it's like, nope, 2025. And then the next day, it's like official 2024. So it was whatever. But see, and Jason's saying Fox doesn't have to pay, but if they don't, they wouldn't get their games. Fox, I don't know how to feel about them no more, right? Because they were trying to block Texas OU because they're going to lose a game, whatever. They forced Texas to keep their 4 non-con games with Michigan and Ohio State home and homes. Forced us to swap out when we wanted to cancel them because we're going to the SEC. You're going to play a tougher schedule. And it's like, I get it. You want your money. Texas, I think they should have just paid money to cancel those 4 games. As bad as I like playing good competition in non-con, that doesn't help us. It doesn't help our schedule at all. I don't really care for Fox, right? I feel like ESPN like extremely runs the market. Fox is just trying to keep their head above water, which is why you're saying they don't have to pay, but they probably should. Who is Fox? I know Fox is Big Ten. Do they have the ACC? Do you know?
I don't off the top of my
Or is
head.
that a CBS, NBC? I don't know. That's the next thing, man. What are they doing? See, Jason, you're saying that you think the Big 12 has to get Colorado, Oregon, and Washington, but they got to take one more. ESPN has ACC. ESPN's running this thing.
Utah. You get the Holy War.
Just,
Holy War. That'd be huge for ticket sales. And you know it because BYU fans travel like birds in the winter.
Yeah, it would have to be Utah. See, but then if you're taking okay, well, hear me out. If you're taking Colorado, Oregon, Washington, and Utah, now you're talking about a conference who might actually be the third best conference in college football.
That's what I'm saying. Which is what we need, especially with no matter Coach Prom is gonna bring Colorado back. Probably not year one, whatever. They're gonna
year one they're making a bowl game. Year two they're making the playoffs.
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
said it. I put it out there on the internet, so it's official.
If not year three, for sure. Colorado is gonna be in the top 25. Year two, maybe year one's a little iffy, but Coach Prom can leave after 5 years, whatever. They're going to hire somebody else that's good because that's what they're going to want. Now, as long as it's not Jimbo Fisher, they should be fine. Right?
Jimbo Fisher's going to West Virginia.
But I think Colorado and Utah would be the biggest steals of this, even if Oregon and Washington leave eventually. Cool. We still got probably the two best remaining besides Oregon and Washington football schools.
Yeah.
That's going to be the next decade.
If you get those four schools, I don't feel like that puts you above the Big Ten because Michigan, Ohio State, and USC, those three are better than. So Jason's saying get them all. Are you talking about getting Colorado, Oregon, Washington, Utah, and the Arizona schools aside from Cal and Stanford? Wouldn't that kind of be funny if you can't get Stanford? Because Stanford, wasn't they one of the schools that were blocking everybody because they were like, no, they're not academic enough?
Yeah, Stanford and Cal think that they're just so
funny if y'all took everybody except for them and said, y'all are too smart.
That's what it would be. They're going to end up in the Mountain West. And Bodie, that is 1,000% true. Brett Yormark has been saying that since last year's media days, and he keeps saying that now, is that he wants to be the first conference to have a school in every single time zone. And if he can get Oregon or Washington, right there, boom.
See, done. If they could do that, and now you don't have to travel as far every week. There's just some games that could be interesting.
I mean, at the same time, it's not going to be like, all right, Washington, you're going to play a protected rival in West Virginia. That's not going to happen.
See, but then there's the next conversation is if you have that many teams, then you probably start going to that 3-6-6 schedule like the SEC's talking about. And how you would have to create, you'd just be creating rivalries. You'd have to, because right with BYU, sure, you got Utah. Who else do you got? You can create one with Baylor.
Yeah,
but it's not a real rivalry. You're creating it. Will it be a rivalry in 20 years? Sure, but
we're 1-1 at the moment.
It's better than Texas. In my lifetime, we're 0-2. I think I know we're 0. I know we've lost 2 back. I don't know if we play them anymore, but
I mean, we already have back-to-backs with Utah starting next year. It's like I told you with BYU, it's kind of weird how we start these back-to-backs and then the next year BYU's in the league. We start these back-to-backs with Utah, the next year they're in the league. And then I think 2027 we start a back-to-back with Oregon.
Well, you know what? We did back-to-back with Bama. Now we're in the SEC, so same deal. All right, Jason wrote us another paragraph. Let's see. Literally could Washington State and Oregon State too, but if you're trying to add teams that move the needle, you have to get U of H, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, Arizona schools are real in hoops. Okay, but at the same time, okay, Texas A&M dips out to the SEC. They leave Texas. They don't want to play anymore. Oklahoma lives out to the SEC. Okie Light says, hey, we don't want to play Oklahoma anymore. I don't know if all the schools are like that. Would Washington State and Oregon State just say, we're done with the rivalry?
No.
Or are they going to end up having, wow, you say that, but two major, like Bedlam and the Lone Star Showdown are big.
At the same time.
They're big rivalries. Now, I feel like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to lose that Oregon State.
I don't think anybody is near. I don't think anybody is near as petty as the A&M Gaggies
or the Okie Lights,
or the Okie Lights. I mean, just send Jason the link for real. Jason, do you still got the link to get on here?
It might be a different link. Let's Logan, I always forget. We have to do plus. You keep talking. I'll send him a link.
Yeah, right. But I'm just the Arizona schools, like Jason said, are huge in college basketball, and Arizona State is on the rise for football. I mean, they got Justin Flo. They got the dude from Florida. What's his name?
I'm not listening. I'm doing this. What are you talking
about? The guy from Florida that took off because they didn't want to give him $13 million.
Oh,
Jalen Rashada. Yeah, they just got him. They're not going to be bad here in the next couple of years. And Justin Flo came from Oregon. So, I don't know. I think the Colorado thing will be big here in the next up to 5 years, depending on whenever Deion leaves. Utah is always doing more with less. Oregon and Washington, those are just some of the biggest brands in the nation. I mean, Oregon more than Washington, but at the same time, they have a crazy good rivalry game. Every single year, it's always good. Now, Adam, one of the guys that you talk to, is just a casual. We've talked to him a couple times, or I haven't. But that's the one game that he says that he's always scared about. Same thing with Utah, because they always have dogs, and the Washington-Utah game is always loud and crazy, and everybody's just going wild. That anything can happen on any given Saturday, which is just like how the Big 12 has been the past 2 years. Anybody can get beat. Anybody can beat anybody within those couple of teams, which I think they kind of fit in perfect with that. Now, the Arizona schools, like the University of Arizona, not so much. Arizona State could be one of those sneaky teams like Kansas has been becoming, where they can work their way up slowly but surely and then smack everybody in the mouth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's tough for me. All right, we've got the Hall of Fame guy himself. The Oklahoma. Seriously, Bodie, if you haven't already gone and subscribed to Jason,
there she is.
At the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, even with the horns down on the screen, you know what? Actually, sorry, Jason, we changed our mind. All right, Logan.
Oh man.
All right, Jason. Now we don't have to read. Jason's got all the knowledge. I thought Logan had it all. Should have had Jason on to begin with. You were live tonight, though, too, weren't you?
He was.
I was on live.
I forgot it was Tuesday.
Yeah, and the reason I was going to just tell you guys. I mean, here's the deal. They if any one of those schools out there decide no on the TV deal, it's a no. It's not like it. Really? There's no majority rules, any of that kind of stuff. To me, I think that as much as I was seeing that stuff that Logan you were talking about yesterday, that we kept seeing that.
Yeah.
The only reason I really think that that's doable and possible is because of the fact that they keep trying to shove the streaming shit down their throat, and they're not going to do it. Washington and Oregon are flat not doing it. They're not in. So they could be. They could be talking to Yormark right now. They could be. I think they could.
Does the Pac-12 kind of just have to just say fine, leave, so that we can get a contract, so we can get a deal?
See, and that's where
they're not going to get a deal with those schools leaving.
It could be. It could be. I don't know that for sure what's going to happen. I don't know, man. To me, I feel like it's going to be one of them deals where they, from the other live, Bodie, you're not on my show, or what's up with that, bro? Come on now. No, so I don't know, man. To be honest with you, it could happen though. I feel like you probably I don't think they're going to be okay with it. And then apparently Stanford is not okay with them offering SDSU, which has apparently already happened. But it hasn't happened officially because of the fact that I think that Stanford and Cal are saying no. So you have all these other schools that are saying no to everything. I don't know, man. I think you got to let them out.
Yeah,
but
Stanford
I think they're
and
dead
Cal
anyway. I just really
independent.
feel like it's a dead conference. They're going to be a G5 conference at best. They're going to rebrand a bunch of Mountain West teams.
I'm on this guy's Twitter, the guy that I sent y'all in that group. And he just posted, last thing I'll share tonight, my Big 12 source tells me that if somehow the Pac-12 does stay intact and take the bad TV deal, that we have 2 offers for our Western fail-safes waiting in the wings. Yormark is expanding west no matter what the Pac does. He will either do it with Pac schools or elevate 2 G5s and give them exposure on ESPN that the Pac will no longer have.
Yeah, but then that comes out of if they don't have the pro rata, then that comes out of the pie for everybody that's already in the Big 12.
See,
and nobody's going to be okay with that.
I also saw that they set aside $4 million per school to bring in extra schools at the same time. So I don't know if they're talking about
like Nova or something.
Why don't they just use the money they're getting from Texas and Oklahoma to pay for it?
Because that's what they're doing for the group of 5s that came in.
I feel like they should do that. No, that money, the money that Texas and Oklahoma left is going to make them whole for what they already paid for those G5s. But they've been talking about they could keep that and use it to bring in other schools. The thing is with the Pac-12 schools, and somebody was on my show earlier asking, well, why don't what if they're not going to, don't they have leverage? Wouldn't you want to pay them more like what you were doing with Texas? And I was like, no, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're not going to let Oregon or Washington make more money than anybody else. You need to have equal revenue in order to keep everybody happy. That will not work because it won't work. Now, will happen, what I could see happening is them giving them an out clause if they want to go to the Big Ten. I could see them doing that. But what you were saying earlier, Christian, was right on point. If you bring those guys in, you bring in Oregon and Washington, and let's say you bring in the 2 of the 4. Let's say you do Colorado and Utah, maybe, or maybe you do the other 2 schools in Arizona. Whatever. If you just do them 4, I would say do all 6. But I do think if you do those 4, and now you have a real conference, right? Because Utah's real. Oregon is absolutely a real player. They're top 10 in recruiting every year. They might be better in the Big 12 than they were in the Pac-12. I mean, to be honest with you, and they can carry, they can move exactly. They can move the needle week after week. Whereas I'm not sure that. I mean, I would say Oregon State and Wazoo are not going to move the needle. Nobody gives a shit, except for the week that they're supposed to play their rival, which they're probably going to continue that game. That being said, I think that you might end up making it to where now the conference is worth enough money that they wouldn't have to go to the Big Ten. You know what I mean? So truly, I feel like Yormark came in. It's too bad that Brett Yormark didn't show up 5 years ago, because if that would have happened, then you don't have Texas and Oklahoma gone.
So same guy.
Texas OU and add some.
He would have. This guy's a rock.
And then you've got the Big 12 competing with the Big 10 for the second best conference instead of.
They're already better than the Big 10. If they get Oregon and Washington, they're better than the Big 10, dude.
My God. But so
you think even with the Big 10 getting, but the Big 10's getting USC.
Okay. So that means they've got USC,
Michigan,
UCLA's going to be good. They got
USC.
Dante Moore coming. UCLA's going to be good. But okay, so that means they've got 5 good schools. The rest of them suck, dude. You know they do. You know they do.
But how many Big 12 doesn't have that many great?
Okay, so but if you well, think though.
They would have Oregon, Washington, Utah, and Colorado. We predict that Colorado will be there.
I'll tell you what, I think Arizona State's going to be good. They got Kenny Dillingham. He's one of the best offensive coaches in the country. He just got Jaden Rashada.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the bottom line is that if you bring in a bunch of Pac-12 schools that are in a power conference already, you can work with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they can make that a power. And look, you know how it is down. I mean, now you've got a recruiting footprint in Texas because you're a conference school. That's something they haven't had before. course, also Oregon can recruit nationally because they're a brand. They're a brand.
So I want to throw out that these GF5s that they have in their fail safes have already been pre-approved by ESPN to get the pro rata. And these schools don't mind, apparently, reportedly, only getting $21 million a year.
That's from that MHDR VER guy or whoever it was that you were sending that to?
Yeah, that's just whatever he was just
I'm not sure that I don't know this dude.
Could just be,
I mean,
does it seem like that? Sorry, go ahead.
He makes sense. He definitely makes sense.
I mean, he posted April 18th, 2022 that Fox Sports advising Big Ten to expand and USC and UCLA are the prime candidates being eyed. As I told you,
he wasn't sure about him, but I don't know either. I don't know. Maybe he is, but
I mean, I don't know, but I don't know when it was announced that USC and UCLA were leaving. But there's that, and apparently,
it seems like it's already announced. It seems like it's already confirmed that as soon as the deal goes sideways for the Pac-12, these teams are going to be.
It's already sideways. Here's the thing: like
they're already agreeing.
They brought up Apple. They brought up Apple, but think about this: the fact that they couldn't shove Amazon down their throat, and they have 200 million freaking Prime users. 200 million. Apple has like 15 million, and so I don't know where he thinks that's helping him. That's the other thing is that dude's just throwing out a bunch of crap. He's just throwing out a bunch of crap because the Big 12 is not chasing after Fresno State. They're not. No. That's a lie. Straight lie.
1,000% no. And any Utah fan or whatever Pac-12 school you're a fan of thinks that the Big 12 is a worse place than the current Pac-12, you're stupid. 1,000%. You are stupid.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Here's what it is. And I don't know what got up Utah's butt because they've been a freaking Power 5 school for 10 minutes. Shut up. You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with you? But so don't, and it's not even a real Power 5. I mean, they are, but
at the moment.
Seriously, though, I feel like they're not going to go down with the sinking ship, though. I mean, all the stuff they're saying about not wanting to come to the truck stop league or whatever, that's just BS. They're
fans act like they have any.
And fans are idiots, dude. Fans are idiots. Like they know anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're going to do anything.
Their comments are the ones that I don't even engage with. I haven't said anything except for on your one post. Now, Oklahoma fans, I'll talk smack to all the time. Shout out to Jason. That's how we met, arguing on Twitter. Yeah. I'll argue with people that actually make sense just to try to piss people off like I did Jason.
Like that guy from earlier, that dude from Pac-12, whatever. He's a Pac-12 on Prime or whatever. He's a moron. Total moron. That dude.
For you to already have your name. See, I didn't argue with this guy. I just said he was a clown, left it at that. But
no, I was trolling him pretty good though.
As Pac-12 on Prime, nobody's gonna take you seriously.
I think it's Kliavkoff's burner, dude. I'm sure of it.
I wouldn't be surprised. 1,000%. And how many does he have?
Batching the Big 12 yesterday. That dude was rocking on the Big 12, but it was dumb stuff. He's an idiot. He said that the Big 12 ruined college football. That they're ruining college football. I was like, really? What do they do? You know, Kliavkoff screwed it up for you boys. That's all there is to it. That dude he can't walk and chew gum at the same time. That dude's
I mean, that's like I said earlier.
For such a smart conference, they're not getting anything right.
Exactly, and all the Pac-12 fans want to talk about is the AAUs and all that. Have we been able to find any kind of something that shows that the AAU money is the same as the athletic money?
It's not, and that was kind of confirmed. I've confirmed that the last couple of days. It's not. It has nothing to do with it. What it is it's like-minded schools. The Big 12 doesn't average in the Big 12 is somewhere around. Kuz had something on this yesterday. The average is like 155 million at most of the schools. There's just not a ton of research. But if you look at Big 12 schools, there's not a lot of medical schools and crap like that. Baylor's one, right? But so they do a lot of research, I'm sure. But a lot of them, I mean, you've got a lot of land grant schools. You've got a lot of different stuff like that's not meant for an AAU. You wouldn't need to be in the AAU because you don't have a medical school. You know what I mean? And so you're not doing a lot of scientific research. I think Kansas is the only AAU school in the Big 12, but it's
kind of wild.
They don't really need them. That's what I'm saying. And so, definitely AAU has jack crap to do with athletics. It has nothing to do with athletics. So they want like schools in a lot of these conferences. And I think everybody thinks that because the Big Ten said they want you to be an AAU school, then that's why. I don't see that as being a thing. And really, to be honest with you, out of the Pac-12, there's only 4 AAU schools left once SC and UCLA leave. So it doesn't even matter.
I mean, I think it's funny how Utah fans will call us the truck stop conference and all that good stuff.
Dude, yeah, where are they at? They're right in the middle of nowhere too. Have you ever been to Salt Lake? It's in the middle of nowhere.
I have not.
Middle.
For a very good reason.
Beautiful
I've been
place,
to a lot of towns here in Texas.
Right.
And a couple in Oklahoma. But
yeah. You've been to Hobbs?
I've been close
to
it.
Broken Bow.
You've been to Broken Bow?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think that they're going to end up having to do it.
Chip-to-Walk drive-through? Something like that.
Have you ever left the state, bro?
He went to Broken Bow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've gone to Oklahoma, Arkansas. I've gone all the way to Florida, Georgia. I think I went to one of the Carolinas.
Well, you had to go through Louisiana to get there.
Sure,
I guess.
Not just fly.
Well, you still went over it.
It's a flyover state.
All those SEC flyover states.
Yeah. These guys are nuts.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This whole stuff. I feel like we just wake up one day and there be.
Oh, that's what I'm waiting on. I can't wait for Brett York.
The thing is, the problem with the Pac-12, and this is the last I even really have to tell you, is that ESPN is flat saying we have so much we don't have an appetite for your programming. We don't need it. Yeah. They've got the ACC, they got the Big 12, and they have the entirety of the SEC starting in 2024. All of it.
It probably does them.
Where could they fit it? Where could they fit the crap?
Symbols.
Right.
Just put it in the packages you've already got.
Yeah, I feel like, and as far as streaming goes, I think down the line, yes, you're going to see people going to more streaming packages. It's just not ready for it. Everybody's not ready for it yet. Nah. A lot of people are, a lot of people aren't. I know that Washington and Oregon are not budging on that. I saw that on, I watched it on Sickle 365. They had a guy from the Seattle area. He's a broadcaster. He was on there and they were talking about it with him. And he was like, UW is not doing it, period. So, again, it takes one school to say, I'm in Jal, about to head to Hobbs. What the heck are you doing over there, Bodie?
I was wondering,
are you in the oil field or what? No.
Well,
Pac-12 Sports on Prime. How many national championships have the Big 12 schools won in football?
More than Jason, the freaking Pac-12.
Since the Big 12 has been in existence, it leads the Pac-12 in national titles 3-2. Nice flex. And that's when I said this Pac-12 guy's a clown.
What year did the Big 12 officially become?
96?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think it's late 90s. 96.
Okay, so Oklahoma won it. Y'all won it in what, 2000?
And Nebraska won one too.
And then we won it in 05. Mm-hmm. So that's the 3.
You should have won it in 09, dang it.
They should have won it in 09 for sure. Yeah, if it wasn't for Colt getting hurt, they were winning that game, no doubt.
100%.
And, if Oklahoma wouldn't have got donkey stomped by Florida, then Texas probably would have won.
They should have won that. Then they didn't get beat that bad by Florida. It was the LSU game.
Texas would have won if we just got in the game like we were supposed to. But
yeah, whatever,
I'm just saying that if we would have made it to the playoffs instead of, I think it was Bowlesby at the time being a complete idiot.
No doubt.
We would have won the Natty as the 4th seed.
Like I said, all they freaking had to do, man, was freaking bring in these schools that they brought in now. They should have brought them in around then. And
but they had brought them in 7-8 years ago.
If we would have just kept Colorado, we'd be in a great spot.
Because they kept not doing it. You could have driven up the revenue and made it stronger. Literally, it's not hard to do what this guy's doing.
No, it just takes somebody with money smart to do it.
Where did Nebraska leave? Do you know?
Oh, It would have been like 08, 09, something like that. Maybe 2009, 2010.
See, that's my thing is like my college football data starts at about 2012. Like when I really started deep diving into it. So you got to imagine if we still had Nebraska and A&M, and at that point we started adding teams, we might be talking about the Big 12.
Well, but hey, here's what I'm going to tell you on that. It's you guys' fault. It's Texas's fault that all that happened, which is really Dan Beebe's fault. He knew about the whole deal with the Longhorn Network. Yeah, that's the Longhorn Network is what broke up the conference, bro. I'm sorry, but
did I do that?
That was
because we make more money. We wanted to get paid for it. Here, I'll be the first Longhorn fan, and honestly, I'm probably
you're not the first.
Every other Longhorn fan.
Stupid.
Longhorn Network sucks.
The point was that they made so much money off it. It changed the revenue difference. It made it different, and nobody wanted to deal with that. So you're going to lose big time programs like that. That's why it happened. The only ones that hang around, and Oklahoma tried to leave twice since Bowlesby has been there. They tried to leave twice because they weren't having it.
The SEC said, "Nah, we want your brother, your big brother.
Bring daddy." Bring daddy.
No, they were trying to go to the Pac-12 a couple of times. They the second time they tried to bring Texas, and they weren't going to do it because of the Longhorn Network. The Longhorn Network it is the cause.
You know what?
It is the cause.
You're welcome. The Longhorn Network kept Oklahoma and Texas out of the Pac-12. Now we get to go to the SEC.
If Oklahoma and Texas had went to the Pac-12, it wouldn't be like this.
It wouldn't be,
but it still wouldn't be as good as going to the SEC.
Well, we haven't got there yet, dude. I don't know. We're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out real quick.
We're gonna find out. We're about to find out. Nah, I think they're gonna be fine. When you recruit at the level that these guys already do, and first off, the people that think that they're gonna go over there and beat Nebraska, I keep hearing that stupid shit. How silly is that? Because first off, Nebraska lost its pipeline when it went to the Big Ten. It did. It lost its Texas pipeline and I don't know why, but Oklahoma and Texas are still going to have their pipeline. It's not going anywhere.
It's growing.
Actually, neither are going to deal with losing very long. They're just not going to do it. They will fire coaches and not have a problem with it. And so there's a difference in. I mean, Nebraska was already doing stuff stupid before they left. I mean,
Texas's pipeline is already growing. Just look at how we recruited in the state of Louisiana this year. We took Arch Manning from LSU. Like, how often?
Georgia and LSU, they were on.
And Bama.
And Clemson. Bama. Yep, absolutely.
But it's not even that. It's how often does the number one player in the state of Louisiana not go to LSU? It's been forever since that happened.
Well,
and not only did we
Bama,
get the
some
number
will
one,
go to Bama, but
and not only did we get the number one player, we also got the number one defensive player in Derek Williams, 5-star safety. Like Texas's pipeline, just, and I think this year is going to be even better for Texas and Oklahoma, right? Because you recruited 2023's class saying, "Hey, we're going to go to the SEC."
It's already looking real good.
2024.
I mean, they haven't gotten any of them to commit yet, but they're.
Right.
Everybody is all 5-star big timers. Yeah, dude.
Because hey, you're going to be our first class going into the SEC. You'll be true freshman. You'll get your opportunity to show up, show out, and then going into your true sophomore redshirt freshman year, you're going to be the guy on campus.
Oh, no
the
doubt,
SEC.
man. Yeah, listen.
I mean,
David Stone, who's the number one defensive tackle, he's from Oklahoma, but he's been at IMG in Florida. I think it's almost for sure that they've got 3 or 4 offensive or defensive tackles lined up that are all 5-star guys. They're going to get at least 2 of them probably. I mean, and that never happens at Oklahoma, and now it's happening, right?
I'm just ready for Texas to start getting the guys that Texas A&M, their only recruiting pitch was, "We're in the SEC. They're not. If you want to stay in Texas, stay close to home and play."
Well, it's not their only recruiting pitch. And here's 2 bags of cash too. You know what I mean? That's the
see those guys in the
everybody that's in these suites. Yeah.
The NCAA violation on camera. Still didn't get in trouble.
You know what? Did you see where Florida DeSantis made it legal for the coaches to be able to talk to to recruits about it and like work their deals for them. They can't be the ones giving them the money, but now the coaches in Florida can actually work the NIL deals and use it. Yeah, I mean, that's what I've said before, though.
Like
I've said that
you can talk to them in high school.
The only freaking way that you're gonna be able to control this is to get it to allow it all. That way you can, I mean, let them be a part of it, because then you can count it and you know where the money's coming from. If you keep on saying that, oh no, the school can't do it, then it's just gonna be shady crap. It's in the end, I think people are getting sick of the NIL, though. I don't think that millionaires and billionaires didn't get money by giving it to freaking 18-year-old kids that hadn't proven anything yet. It's not going to continue to happen like that. They're not. That's the whole thing with Jaden Rashada. The
market's going to calm down.
It is. And I think what they need to get a handle on is the portal. That's what I think. I think the portal's got to get a handle on that.
And that's going to be something weird.
That starts hang on. We're going to start a whole new segment on this.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, we'll just go ahead and do NIL.
2011 is when Nebraska left the Big 12.
Dude, I was 9 years old.
Babies. Just babies.
Goodness.
Just a baby. Bodie, you're in the oil fields out in Hobbs and Joe. Holy crap. Where are you from?
Wild.
Boomer, by the way.
He's from Jacksonville.
Okay.
Over here in East Texas.
He's an oil field boy.
Logan found him on the mail route.
All right on.
All right. We got a new segment. I'll do an intro real quick. Welcome back to another episode of Lonestar College Football. Got Jason with us from Hall of Fame College Football Podcast. We're going to talk about the NIL and the transfer portal, some changes that need to be made. Jason, you were just telling us about these millionaires. They didn't get rich. Hold on. We didn't have to do that, man. These millionaires didn't get rich by giving 18-year-olds $1 million to come play football. They're unproven.
Well, no, and like the whole thing at Florida, I mean, they offered that kid $13 million, and they were like, oh, wait, we can't afford it.
They put on their clause that they could immediately take it away whenever.
Why did he not?
They knew they weren't going to pay that.
Why?
They knew they weren't going to pay that.
I don't know.
And they had to let him out of that paper, because
that's the thing is, if you don't have to live up to your end of it, that's the whole problem with the NIL that bothers me. Is that, look, they're paying these kids. They've always paid these kids. Let's get that out of the way.
Not everybody. Baylor's poor. All right.
Come on, man. There's rich guys in Baylor too.
RG3, you're not telling me RG3.
Our highest paid.
Yeah. Hey, man, our Bryles was paying, like bro.
$40,000 in Siaki Ika.
40,000 this year?
Yeah, Siaki Ika.
Oh, that's your highest paid from the program money. They didn't have any NIL outside of that.
That's as far as I know.
That dude's going to be a first-round pick,
Joanna Gaines. No.
He's projected.
Ika? He's a monster.
I tell you what,
he's
the dude's a big guy.
Second pick in the second round. I think
he probably doesn't get enough awareness because he ate up blocks. I
mean, his stats aren't there.
They'll pay those guys. It don't matter. They'll pay those dudes, man, because they do eat blocks. That guy's 350 freaking pounds. He's a monster. Dude's a monster. Anyway, the point is the NIL stuff is going to die down. I feel like it has to, because these guys don't want to. Look, man, they didn't get rich like that, dumping $10-12 million on somebody that hadn't done anything yet.
Yep.
It's one thing.
How many times can you do it and fail?
Exactly. And the first time that these coaches, they want all of them, right? And they're gonna get some people to give that money up at first, but wait till a couple of them don't freaking pan out.
My thing is, why are these boosters just throwing their money out there? What are they getting out of it? That's my thing. Besides season tickets and suites.
Out of it.
They get something out. And listen, a lot of these alumni that are that invested in it, they're invested in it for a reason, because they get return on it.
They've got some nonprofits that they want the program to put money into, that they back pocketed in their pocket. But look at Nebraska.
I don't even want to get into all that. There's so much crazy crap that goes on at some of these colleges we're not even talking about the really good athletic colleges.
Tell us about Texas Tech. We know you spend a lot of time there. I'm all ears.
Well, I'm not going to get into that one. That one's fun. I can tell you some crazy stuff. It will be off the air though. I'm not going to tell you the rest of that right now.
My dad met a guy who played for A&M back in the 90s, maybe late 80s. And he said that to this day, he has not made more money than he made playing for A&M in like the late 80s.
I don't doubt that at all.
But what I'm
you can tell me Vince Young made more money in the NFL than he made at Texas, because I doubt it.
Maybe that contract, maybe. Nebraska last year, they go and they get Casey Thompson out of Texas, and then they get O'Shawn Mathis out of TCU, and both guys made comments online talking about the NIL is different here in Nebraska. Both guys took shots at Texas, if you ask me, especially Casey Thompson took a shot, and they were saying
they haven't won in a long time. They're paying up.
They're trying,
right? And they were like, these guys aren't driving the big cars, but we're making plenty of money here. And what did they do? Neither one of them did anything amazing. O'Shawn Mathis was a bust in the transfer portal.
Now they have Matt.
If he had came to Texas,
Casey sucks.
If we had paid,
I get it.
Yeah. If we had paid that much money and got O'Shawn like I wanted us to do in the moment.
But you got to remember, though, that they lost their coach like week 2, though, also. You know what I mean? Like, they lost their coach after a couple of weeks. So
that's because they were bad.
He was the best.
What I'm saying is, though, when you get guys that are supposed to be offensive weapons and your offensive-minded head coach is gone all of a sudden, things kind of change, you know?
Yeah, O'Shawn Mathis is a defensive end.
Okay.
They were terrible.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of silly stuff
he had
going
like
on in Nebraska. You know that they're going to be better now that they got.
They'll be better in the 2. They won't be better this year. He won't be better this year. He'll be better next year.
I think they're going to be good. I think it'll take a couple of years, but it's just like I was saying with Colorado, you're going to be good. And because there is going to be money for these guys. But here's the thing. The NIL is not going to continue to go bonkers because it's just, if you think about it, the one that made a lot of money, Caleb Williams got $10 million at SC. He won the Heisman. They improved to 10 wins, whatever. You know what I mean? Or they had 10 wins? Yeah. So,
but 2 losses to Utah.
Yeah, I love that.
Go Utah.
That's why I want to love Utah. I want to love Utah. They're just being so crazy, man. They're being so crazy. Yeah. Hey, dude, I did like that one video I did about that. I was like, what's wrong with y'all? Shut up. You should want to get out of there. Here's what I can gather from the people, because I've got a lot of views on that one. And what I'm gathering is the BYU fans are saying it, but I feel like a couple of the Utah fans are too. When they were in the same conference, like in the WAC conference back in the day or in the Mountain West, Utah would win like 1 out of 10 against BYU. When BYU's in a conference in Canada, they are going to be a problem in the Big 12. I can promise you that. They are. They recruit well. But so I think that there's some worry and Utah, they think they're all that since they've been in the Pac-12, but they don't want to be in the same conference with BYU, and they don't want to share the spotlight out there with that. I think that's what a lot of it is. Either way, though, they're out of control, dude. They're way out of control. But I don't feel like the money's going to stay crazy like that. The guys that could do it could always do it and always have been doing it. I hope Caleb Williams' big toe falls off. Yeah, I don't hate Caleb Williams, but I don't like him that much either. So, yeah.
How do you...
F. Lincoln.
He did great against Baylor, though.
Who?
Caleb.
Oh, yeah.
Trash.
How do you go and you backtrack on this NIL stuff, though? These players now, they don't
think you backtrack. No, you can't backtrack on it. Whatever you've offered them up until this point. What I think is going to happen is they're not just going to give them a bunch of upfront money or whatever it is. They're going to make them have to. Here, what it was supposed to be is so that they can use them for endorsements.
You can go and
endorsing yourself, making money off of your name, right?
There's lots of stuff. Get a Kool-Aid NIL deal and sponsor the Big Red Kool-Aid Man and make a little money.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. But the ones that are going to be able to do that, like A&M in Texas, they can give them whatever money they can give them because they have so much money, right? They don't have to go by that. Your Alabamas, there ain't a whole lot going on in Tuscaloosa, so don't tell me it's businesses giving them money, because it isn't. You know what I mean? Everybody else is broke as hell over there. I don't want to hear that. It's alums that have some kind of monster business somewhere else. Bottom line is that, and same with, I mean, Oklahoma does pretty well too, but they don't have the kind of money that like Texas and A&M have. No way. But
we have a freaking pancake factory where offensive linemen on August 1st, you're on campus, $50,000.
Right.
All of them.
Now, see, that's smart.
Backup, third string.
Texas Tech was smart, though. They've got to where they've got something to where everybody in the program makes at least $25,000. You know, that was cool. Smart on their part.
That's really
smart
cool.
on their part.
Yeah, and it is.
I don't know question, though, so the transfer portal,
once you limit the NIL aspect, if you could get that flattened out, the transfer portal will fall in line, because we're seeing a lot of guys hit the portal just because they want to make more money. They're perfectly content with where they're at. They could go to the league from where they're at, but they're like, you know what?
I don't know that's what's happening. I think a lot of these guys aren't getting playing time, so they're trying to leave. Well, no, I'm not just talking. I'm not talking about the dudes that are already stars. I'm talking about you get a guy that's a 5-star and he doesn't get to play it at somewhere. That's one thing. He's going to get a spot. Fine. But what about these dudes that they get pissed off at a coach and they leave, right? Do you realize that last year 40% of the guys that entered the portal never played again? 40%. Yeah. That is not sustainable either. It's not. You start losing 40% of your players. I mean, there was 3,000, 4,000 kids that entered the portal. Almost half of them don't play anymore. It's not a smart thing. So I feel like they need to do it. What I would do if I'm, because of this NIL money, if you're going to be smart about it, if you're Alabama, for instance, why not say, let's say you're Fox or ESPN and you're paying these guys $100 million a year. I'd be like, yo, get your freaking house in order. You need to get bonuses for these kids. If they stay, every year that they stay, they get more money. That you're going to bonus them for staying there, because otherwise this is not good. We want a good product on the field. You can't keep doing this forever. You cannot, because you can't keep having the stars are one thing. But when you've got a guy like that stupid quarterback that he was at USC, then he was at Georgia, and then last year he was at West Virginia, and now he's at Rice. JT Barrett, Jalen Down, JT Daniels.
Yeah, he went to Rice.
Yes, he's at Rice now.
Yeah, he's bounced around and he can't be
he's 1 year at a time.
We thought he was good at Georgia.
He looked good, and he's got talent. He's got talent.
When did they get rid of the whole 1 year? Like you transfer, you got to wait a year. That used to be the way the portal worked.
I think it was I want to say it started in 16 or 17.
Yeah,
maybe.
It wasn't too terribly long ago.
I want to say it was but not everybody was they didn't make it real loud. They weren't real loud.
Well, I think now it's because the NIL. They're like, all right, who's got the bag?
But but not all the schools can afford to do that, man. You don't have a bunch of boosters that are willing to do it. Like if it was just that, if the NIL really mattered that much, there'd be these teams that you don't even know. Like Rice is all of a sudden winning. You know, like why? What the hell? They're offering the most money. You know what I mean? That's not it, man. It's just not good.
I mean, the problem is there's changes that need to be made, but you don't want college football to turn into the NFL.
Exactly.
Where there's contracts and this, because once you start talking contracts, now you've got guys who are like, you have to stay here for 3 years before you can leave.
Correct.
And the reason why I'm all pro transfer portals, because if a coach can leave at any time,
I'm fine with that. Right. But they already have that deal in place that if a coach gets fired or leaves, then you can transfer for free. They already did that. They were already doing that. That don't have nothing to do with it.
I want performance-based things. If you want a bonus, you want to make
you know how that's going to work? You know how that's going to work? That they're going to stop saying that it can't be by the school offering you that.
Right.
The only way that you can do that, the only way that you can limit all that stuff is to actually have the schools in charge of it so that you can keep up with it. Because otherwise, if you got Joe Blow out here that has a welding shop and he wants to pay Caleb Williams whatever he wants to pay him,
You got Brent Venables just blowing and going. I mean, let him do what he's got to do.
Look, exactly. If it's working, the coach is going to do what he wants to do. But I'm saying, if Jimbo can sit there and say, no, we didn't pay $30 million for it, because they didn't.
Oh crap!
They did. But what happened? But they can say
to a local nonprofit.
No, the people up there paid for it.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Have you seen that video?
As long as that's going on, I hadn't seen that video. I want to watch it now, but
they straight up told the recruits. They pointed to the press boxes and was like, that's who's paying you.
Man, I thought I might have sent that
on video. We got the video. We could.
So I like, what's his name is still getting. I mean, like, look at the whole deal with David Hicks. Like, he was set to go to Oklahoma. All of a sudden, on his announcement day, A&M.
Yeah, and he stuck with them because going from Baylor to Oregon because they lost Dante Moore. Or I think,
Dante was going to go to Notre Dame before that. Hold on, T. And Austin was going to go to, what's his name was going to go to Notre Dame before that. Dante was.
Oh yeah. I was talking about Austin. I was like,
he's flipped. No, Austin Nova said, "Hey, you guys are. It's good that y'all." He sucked. He wasn't that good. I didn't see it. He certainly couldn't do anything with anybody in his face, and they were in it. They were in his face. So. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to hop off here.
Okay, cool.
Soon. So, we got any closing remarks?
No, I was just trying to give you guys the info on the stuff that I knew about the Pac-12. So, man, I appreciate you guys having me on though. So yeah, I'm gonna go eat too.
Sure. Number 1 Oklahoma lose to Baylor in softball. So there's that.
Oh yeah,
they did.
That's wild.
It happens, dude. Wild. It's freaking softball. It happens.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot.
Actually, there's a girl from Artesia.
Juggernaut.
There's a girl from Artesia where I'm at right now that's pitching for Baylor. Riley Crandall. Yep. She's good.
Bodie, appreciate y'all. Appreciate you rocking with us this whole time.
Yeah, for real.
You guys have been on for a while, huh? Yeah, I did.
Without even realizing. We're gonna
have to get Bodie on this channel one day.
Ooh! Breaking news being reported by On3. Apple has emerged as a potential landing spot for the Pac-12 college football TV rights.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
But Oregon and Washington still aren't gonna vote. There's just
no. I mean, you're gonna say okay to freaking Apple, but you didn't. And they got 15 million users, but you're not gonna say okay to the 200 million on Amazon. What does that mean? That don't make any sense
at all.
They're dead. They're dead in the water, dude. The Pac-12 is toast. Over.
Take care, Bodie. Have a safe trip back as well, man.
See you guys later, man. Thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, thanks for coming on.
See y'all later.
See it. With that being said, we're gonna wrap this up and just say if y'all made it this far, we really do appreciate y'all rocking with us. Talk about these giveaways just real quick. We reached our goal, 500 subscribers. We've announced the giveaway on Twitter. If you're not following us on Twitter and we announce it, you miss it. We're just gonna have to pick somebody else. So make sure you follow us on Twitter. There's a link in the description. And if we can reach all the socials, right? Hang on, where's it at? Boom. Also, if we can reach 1,000 by September 1st, we're going to do a ticket giveaway. And that's going to hopefully a Texas or Baylor fan wins. And we can go to a Texas Baylor game with one of y'all. But if you're a fan of another school and you decide to subscribe and enter, that's cool. We'll just get you a ticket to a different game. And no big deal. Lastly, but not leastly, if you live in the state of Texas, New Mexico, Utah, Georgia, Colorado, Oklahoma, or Tennessee, and you got the same phone calls that we were getting last year about our insurance going up, give Casey Crutcher a call at 903-948-5195 at Rollo Insurance. See what he can save you on your home, auto, life, health, and business commercial insurance. He saved us $40 a month. Once again, doesn't sound like a whole lot. Put it all aside. And hey, if you saved up $40 a month for a whole year, you could get yourself tickets to the Red River Rivalry, Red River Showdown, whatever you want to call it. Right. You'd be able to get some good tickets. Red River Shootout, Rivalry Showdown. There's a ton of Save up your money all of this season and next season, and you'll be able to get tickets to the Texas and A&M, the Lonestar Showdown. That's what I'm gonna try to do. See how that works. But appreciate y'all rocking with us. Until next time.
Sick one.